Hello again. Today we are going to paint these little plastic dudes. And we're going to take one from grey, undercoated, through to completed, the way I like to do it. And this is just one of many methods that you can use to paint your little plastic dudes. And this is just an example of the painting. You can paint any sort of thing you like. Paint hard plastic toys that you get from the cheap shop. Paint Hot Wheels cars, although you might need different paints for that. That's not something I've gotten into, but people do it. Paint fish shop, like fish tank scenery. People do that sort of thing as well. Whatever it is, it's usually pretty similar techniques. I would encourage follow along if this is a style that you like. You don't have to use the same colours I do, these are just colours I like. But this technique I find is really good for people who aren't great at painting, for beginners, people like me. There are other styles that are very beginner friendly, like slap, chop, speed painting. I don't like how it looks, so that's why I don't do it. I do this style. So follow along with me. There's some really bad camera work in it, so please be patient with me. Trying to paint while watch what's in frame and what's in focus was really difficult. And I'm still learning all that and how to get it to work. But hopefully there's some good advice in there that you can use to get some minis on the table or for display or whatever you want to do. So let's get into it. That's the first thing I'm going to do. It's a hot day, I need to keep my paints wet. Just fill this foam up with water. Piece of paper. So this is the guy I'm going to be painting today. If you know anything about Warhammer, this guy's 3rd edition, I think. Black Templars on the cover of the main rulebook. So a pretty old model. If you don't know, they're up to like 10 or 11 or something now. So fairly different. I've still got a lot of these old ones laying around. I've just recently painted over an old paint job. So this is undercoated already. And we're ready to do my paint. Before I use any of the paints, I will use my shaker. Just a few drops at a time. Paint goes a long way. It's only a small dude. I'm going to be using a size 0 brush today. For this first step, you could use whatever size you want. Even a size 1 or 2 that can be appropriate, but size 1 works well. So as I'm painting, just assessing how wet it is, picking up a bit of water from the edge, bringing it in, making sure that it's good for paint. I apologise for my camera work here. Photography and stuff is not my strong point. And all I'm doing is just roughly coating nice and thinly. Now, some of this may not look very thin, but it is quite thin. It's just very good opaque paint. Nice and thinly, all the bits that I want. It is rough, it's messy. I'm just trying to put down a base layer of colour on all the parts that I want this main colour. I'm starting with... It's always a balance between starting with the largest surface area and the most opaque colour, the most darkest colour. My terminology on colour stuff isn't very good. I'm no artist. If you are an artist, feel free, drop it in the comments for everybody else. Again, not worried too much about brush control. We're just getting paint on there. This will all get tidied up and made nice later. This is just getting a base layer of colour on that we can build up, tidy, and build our values from. I'm just working panel by panel. All these bits that I want purple, just making them purple. See, I've left behind his knees here. That's because I'm going to take them in as black. Okay. Where exactly that ends, we can come in and define it later. Just do a little bit more now. Right, we've got his little seals on his legs. I've left them. Yes, I've smudged over a little bit. It won't matter. Okay. Then we've got some decisions to make. We're going to do this arm in purple. We're going to do his helmet purple. Backpack. His back. I'm going to leave this little belt thing. I'll leave it for a different colour. Both arms will go purple. This pauldron, it's got a little stamp on it. Might do it a different colour. We'll do this one purple. So you'll see now a larger area, just how thin that purple is. Slightly translucent. You can see it's really patchy on the legs. Don't worry about the patchiness, okay? That patchiness is part of being the first coat. Just realised whoever put this model together back when, they haven't put that handle in the hand. Or even near the hand. They've probably put it on the wrong model. Use the wrong right hand. And that's okay. I'm not going to go through the effort now of fixing that up. It's just a guy who's fumbled his weapon. Oh, that's a bit thick. Wasn't paying attention there. But you know what? We can fix it. So you can see thick paint. That's not what you want. No, 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 no. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. So we'll sort of pick some of that back up. Blend it through. You'll be fine. If that was in a detailed area, sorry, my blue tack's just come off. If that was in a detailed area, that probably would have lost me a fair bit of detail. And I probably would have had to come in with makeup sponge. Try and get under his neck there. And just thin it out. Alright, that's much better. No, nothing's undoable. Nothing's not undoable. So just off screen there, I've come in under his backpack. Little spot on his shoulder there. Alright, it's rough, it's ready. Chest on his, the sigil on his chest, still there. Might do something like black around his neck, help it stand out a little bit. The backpack, jump pack thing. Still undecided, I might put a little bit of purple on there. Actually, yes, let's do it right there. And I like to do a little twist on the paint as well. You can sort of see what you're doing. Oh, you can't see there. Just go around this skull. I think that's a nice little highlight of my main colour for this troop. Just to tie it in nicely. Just a little decal plate on the gun. I don't know. If I don't like it, I'll colour over it later. Alright, onto the black now. You can see, okay, it's hot weather. You can see it's like bringing chalkiness off in the paint, even after a wash. It's drying on the brush. That's just the weather, low humidity, pretty hot. And now I'm coming in with hot orange. Do this shoulder. Just mixes it up a little bit, creates a bit of visual interest. It's a bit that freaks out everyone about painting these things. Is the eyeballs. Lucky with these guys, they got nice big eye panels. So a nice little brush like a 0 or even smaller goes in nice and easy. It's probably a bit of this is the undertone. So what I plan to do over here. With all this sort of business. I say undertone, I don't want that cartoonish yellow, I don't want orange, I don't want it to look like a Nerf gun. But if a bit of this orange vibrancy and warmth shows through, that's a good thing for what I'm sort of planning. And planning is a strong word, I'm telling you. I'll do this bit orange. Add a little bit of readability to it. There's a rule that I like to stick to when painting these sort of guys. It's got to pass the arm distance test. Right? It doesn't have to look good close up, and it doesn't matter if it looks good close up. What matters is that it looks okay at arm's distance. If you can tell what everything is at arm's distance, you win. If all those details go to mush at arm's distance, I consider that not a good paint job for myself. And if I can't see my mistakes at arm's distance, then I didn't make mistakes. So that's what I tend to go by. While I was mixing up the brown, I realised that I didn't put black around the guy's neck. So I went back and did that. Not much brown. We are going to just hit it on a couple of spots. Gee, this is terrible for zoom. We're going to hit these seals down here. I'm going to do them on the dark brown. Gee, that's terrible. Can't see a thing, can you? I'm going to hit them with this dark brown to start with. Just to give them a nice good base. And we'll probably hit them with a tan when it comes to coat too, just to add some variation. Do on this a little bit here. A little tail piece and his belt. Now what I'm going to do is water down my brown quite a lot. Almost creating a wash. Even though it's not the finishing stage yet, mainly because I just want to see what's going to happen. I know this isn't the time and place while I'm showing you all what to do for experimentation, but yes, worked out pretty well. Looks a bit hot, a bit rusty, but focuses. There we go. Not a bad little look. Thin it out a bit. As I say, it's going on very wet. It is a wash, so I'm going to let it dry a little bit, put some pigment down, and then I'm going to dab it with the sponge. To take off some of that excess moisture and take off some of the high points. And put a bit of variation on it. And we'll do that again with the second coat. And it'll be quite brown, but with some nice hot orange variation underneath it. It's almost brassy. So that's worked out quite well. Quite impressed with that. Look, sometimes it's worth taking an experiment. This is Vallejo Bloody Red. Nice, vibrant, bright red. Like a fire engine red. Going around this little barrel thing. Again, we're not calling this finished, we're calling it first coat. Look, I can see there's purple missing on the guy's hand there. And you see all this as you turn it around because it becomes more visible as there's paint. Okay? You see what's missing as you go. Whereas I didn't see that on the first time around. Now it sticks out. Easy. On the second coat around, just give that a little bit more care and attention to make sure that it sits in nice. So here we're just doing that little wax seal. There's his wax seal on his leg. And what I want to do now is dry brush. Normally I wouldn't dry brush to the last bit, but I do want a little bit of this going on over two coats. I'm going to use an old brush. I'm going to hold a flat one here. I'm going to pick up a bit of paint. What do we got? Bit of old 3D printing raft. I want a fairly wet dry brush for this. I know that sounds oxymoronic, but trust me, you've got to, because I don't. And then in these little vents, look in there proper. That one on the right's about good. Needs to tidy up, but that's about what I'm after. Pick up a little bit off, a little bit more paint. Dry brushing always feels a bit wasteful. Alright. Happy there. Back to the brown, because I want to do this panel. Actually, I don't like that. I don't like the brown panel. I don't like it. Okay, we're not going to keep that. I'm going to sponge it off a little bit, help it dry, so we can go over with something else. I don't like that at all. I'm going to use a grey. So that might be too dark. Too dark. Luckily, we have the tools to fix it. A little bit of white. Nothing in the rule book says that you can't mix your own paints. Bring it over here. Still not quite what I'm after. It's getting a bit better. Just take it a little bit more. That's what I want. Oh, night and day. That to me is a lot better, and that's what's important. You're painting for yourself. You may not like my colour choices. I may not like yours. Boo-hoo for me if I don't like what you paint. Because you are not painting for me, and I am not painting for you. Just trying to get in here. There's a few little nooks and crannies. I've done it different on both sides, so I'm going to colour this bit in. Just to make it consistent. Because I think this bit benefits from a bit of consistency. There we go, that looks mean. And it will finish off around his gun. Pretty much all the white bits on his gun. White bits, not white bits. All the unpainted, primed bits. And if you're doing this yourself, you could write yourself a little note saying that, this grey was just black and white, and if you had to come back to it, leave a sample of that colour on your palette, and then you can just mix it up until it matches. Easy peasies. If you don't know which grey you used though, then it's going to be much harder because you're going to be trying to match different undertones and you'll never get there. So in my case, I'd write down that I used charcoal and I used white. I've only got one white, so I only have to write white. I want a really clean brush now. In fact, I might even change brushes. Fresh tops of white. What is going on there? Big ugly booger on it. Fresh little blob of white. Oops. Add some much needed brightness to this dark colour scheme. Yes, the orange is there, and it will brighten, especially with the second coat. But the purple is deceptively dark, so I often find some white, see already, it's really adding that contrast. So we've got his shoulder pad, and I'm going to do that little emblem thing on his chest in white for this one as well. I'm going to come in on this side. See, now he pops a lot more. And now, essentially we do it all again, but with care, and making all those lines nice and crisp, making all the colours nice and even. But yeah, that's coat number one. It's rough, it's ready. You could probably put this on the table and feel okay about it. He's not bad, but we can definitely make him better. Yes, my painting is a 3-step process. Oi. Painting is a 3-step process for me. But that's how I do it. Now, if you were doing a whole army of these dudes, or a whole squad or whatever you want to call it, you do like all layer 1 purple, all layer 1 orange, all layer 1 black, and you'd follow it through like that. Alright, step 2 is essentially the same as step 1. We're just going in, we're making the colours more uniform. We're making sure that all our edges are nice and crisp between the colours. We're getting rid of all this splotchiness by getting that second coat on. And we're picking up any bits that we missed, like this little bit over here on the side of his belt. Probably just zoom through all this if I can figure it out in editing, and just sort of zip it. But you know, like here, nice and crispy crisp on the edges. So one to the other. These little fingies down here. And it's just to get that nice second coat so everything's nice and well defined and looks good. By the end of this process, it's still going to look flat. It's not going to look finished. That's because there is the third step left to do, and that's where it's really going to pop and come to life. So trust it. It can often feel like it's not quite what you're after between this first and second step, and it can be a bit disheartening if you're not used to the process. But as they say, trust the process. It'll take care of you. Just enjoy it. Again, using 0. Okay, I could be using 000, but realistically, it doesn't make a huge difference once you get down to these sizes, because you're just using the tippy tip anyway. You can feel a little more secure using that smaller brush, but if you can control, it's still small, like at 0 is still a tiny brush. If you can control it, I find it, for me as a learning painter, it's helping me improve faster than relying on the itty bitty. I always find orange to be a funky colour to try and use, and I use it a lot. Goes on quite patchy, so we may need to do like a half coats here. And you can see there, left to right, the difference. I think it's a nice effect, just having the little fire starter just glowing away there. So you'll notice here I'm going in with a lighter brown. When I started, you see that's the base brown that I had on here. That's this brown. You'll see I've ended up with a tone that's in the middle of this dark chocolate and this tan, by layering those two colours. This is where it gets tricky. You can see there's that grey there, and I want to get that around the sides. ever so gently. Just a couple little dabs here. And down the scroll. Make it look a bit retinal. That looks a bit dodgy. The dabs are a bit big on the scroll. On the seal I'm happy. Scroll a bit big. It happens. Alright. Not gonna cry over it. Oh, what is... Oh no! That was a huge squid. Okay, step 3. Same day, lighting's changed just because of where the sun is and the way my room is, but that's what we get. Now, I've got the same palette of paint as I had. I've refilled my purple. Essentially, I'm just going to be using the orange, the purple, the white. For most of it, I think maybe a bit of the grey, and this is really where it starts to pop. I'm going to use the finer brush. Alright, now if you watch tutorials on this, people get like 1,000 different shades of bottles of paint and do it. But if you've got a couple of brain cells, you can figure out it's pretty easy to do if you've got white in your colour. So just a dabby dabba dab of white. Barely want to change it at all. I need a little bit more. Alright. And this is first change. And you can go as much of this as you want to. And what I'm going to do is pick up a few raised areas that are going to catch light. And you can be a bit messy with it because it's going to blend in. Go fairly big for this first one. Do a bit on his helmet. A little bit on his little nose peak there. Draw attention to it a bit. That's what everyone with a big nose wants, is to be drawn attention to it. Maybe a little bit on this shin pad. We're going to pick up some more white, drop it in. Come in again. Slightly smaller area. At the start, you're barely going to notice what you're doing. You're going to start thinking, oh, what's the point of this? Because it dries in, But that's sort of good. It's nice and gradual. More white. And we really are working in this quick, because it blends nice and good. You can see we're really lightening up now. Into a fairly small area. Oops, if I show you. Fairly small. Just little points. Up a few fingertips. A bit more white. Alright, now this, I'm going to need some fresh white because I'm starting to get down into the greys. Alright, almost pastel. Okay, I'll bring it over. Sorry, man. Alright. So you can see we're now at this really pastel colour. All the little tones we've had. And with this now, just picking up the tiniest little gleam on each of these points. To make it shiny, or give the illusion of shiny. And it looks really rubbish there, but as you step it back and as this becomes finished, it's actually works. Trust me, it looks garbage now, but trust the process. Little on his shoes. Now, the tricky bit, and the bit that takes the longest to really get the hang of. Not too wet brush, but really load up your brush. So from tip to ferrule, make sure it's nice and loaded. It's not the best thing for your brush, but I find it's the easiest way to do it. But make sure you're not carrying too much paint. Just make sure that it's loaded all the way up. Now, any of the ridgy bits, so like along the top of this little bit of armour, roll the edge of the brush, not the point. Just touch it. And again, like you can hit him on his fingers. Too much paint there. His kneecap. His toe, a little bit of armoury bit there, make it pop, a little bit around here, just find some bits, make them stand out. Okay, we're doing around the back here, a little bit around there. Bit around here, a little bit just there. We'll do the same with orange. And while I was waiting for it to dry, I did paint the base too. You've probably already noticed. it was annoying me, so I painted it just in a Cayman green. I'm not putting any texture on it, anything like that. Just a basic paint on the base, and sometimes that's all you need. Alright, so last thing, I'm going to use this product, same brand. It's a varnish. I use matte, it still comes out quite opposite of matte. Now I don't use this on the wet palette. It just doesn't seem to go well. It doesn't mix with water well. So I just put it on a piece of rubbish like this, little 3D printing raft. Make sure your paint's dry before you do this. And I use just a big old ugly brush. Everything's dry. And just coat it. And there you have it. Definitely not the only way to paint, but it's the way I paint. I like this guy, he's ready for the tabletop. Didn't take too long, especially trying to film and chat at the same time and do all that, so I'm pretty happy with him. Alright, see you next time.